Hi guys, welcome to ITINFOSEC YouTube channel. I'm Maddie and let's go to configure VTP, voice VLAN and manage VLANs on Cisco switches. This is lesson 11 of CCNA course, CCNA complete course 200-301. Well, first of all, VTP. What's VTP? VTP is a Cisco proprietary protocol used by Cisco switches to transfer VLAN information and VLAN configuration. With VTP, you can synchronize VLAN information such as VLAN ID, VLAN name, creating VLAN, deleting VLAN with switches inside the same VTP domain. A VTP domain is a set of truncate switches with the matching VTP settings, for example, domain name, password, and VTP version. All switches inside the same VTP domain share their VLAN information with each other automatically. To better understand what's the VTP and what its value, consider an example network with 100 switches. Without VTP, if you want to create a VLAN on each switch, you would have to manually enter VLAN configuration commands on each switch, on every switch, and configure VLANs one by one on each switches you have. Instead of that, we can configure all VLANs easily by VTP. Imagine this is the diagram. We have the switch layer 2, and we need create VLAN 10, and under that switch we have, for example, 20, 50, 15 switches, and other switches. We need to create VLAN 10 on all of them, or VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30. It is not important. It is not just one VLAN. It can be, for example, 6 VLAN. Well, and we have another switches in this, under this switch, another layer 2 switches. In VTP configuration, the main switch that we should create VLAN on that is configured as VTP server. All switches, all new switches that you are unboxing and placing that in the network is by default in VTP server mode. But when you have some switches that you want to retrieve configuration from the VTP server, for example, when you create VLAN number 10 on one switch and you want the VLAN number 10 automatically create on another downside switches, the main switch is VTP server, well, and another switches you should configure as VTP client that this item occurs and will cause every VLAN created on the VTP server automatically created on VTP client. Well, but another item is present in VTP, and that is VTP transparent. What is VTP transparent? It's very like its name. A switch using this mode does not share its VLAN database. When the switch configured as VTP server and you create manually VLAN 10 on that switch, you created VLAN number 10 on this VTP server's database. So because it is VTP servers, it will share its database to the downside switches, for example, to the VTP client, and this VTP client switch will receive that database and perform and implement its database on its own database, and also at the result VLAN number 10 will create it on VTP client switch. But when we have VTP transparent, it's the switch does not share its VLAN database, but it forwards received VTP advertisement to the another switches. Maybe there is another, for example, VTP client under this switch, under level of this switch, and we don't want to perform and create VLAN 10 on this switch. Just we want, when the VTP server sending VLAN database to our VTP transparent, just transform or pass through the VTP transparent without any occurring any causing for creating VLANs on this one, and pass through to the VTP client and affix on this VTP client switch. So we can have three mode of VTP server. A switch using this mode can create and delete VLANs. A VTP server switch will propagate VLAN chains, and this is default mode for Cisco switches. VTP client, a switch using this mode cannot change its VLAN configuration. That means that the VTP client switches cannot create or delete VLAN, just receive VTP updates from the VTP server and can be processed and forward and as well. And the VTP transparent, I discussed about that. Another item is important, I should say to you, that's the version of the VTP. VTP has three versions: version 1, version 2, and version 3. The first two versions are similar, except that VTP version 2 adds support for token ring VLANs. It's not important here. And version 3 has the enhanced authentication, support for extended VLANs number 1006 to 4094, support for private VLANs, VTP primary server and VTP secondary server, VTP mode off and disable VTP to you. Based on the main Cisco book, official Cisco book, in this section IDS, in chapter 8 of the first book, only this much has been said about this matter, and we will examine the specialized topics of VTP in the second book as well. Okay, let's go to configure the VTP. Again, this is Cisco Packet Tracer, and like our configuration, I will set the 1, 2, 3, 4 switches and configure that. Let me start 1, 2, 3, and 4 switch. SW1, SW2, SW3. This is transparent. This is VTP client. And SW4, 1, 2, 3, SW4. This is client as well. VTP client, let me connect from ports on SW1, fasten 01 to 01, 02 to 02, and 03 from 02, fast Ethernet 0/2 to fast Ethernet 0/2, and 3 to 3. Okay, that's all. Let me put one PC here and one PC here. Okay, going to its configuration one by one. On SW1, if you remember, I said you all of Cisco switches are in VTP server mode by default. Enable configure terminal. Before that configure terminal, let me check show VTP status with this command. Okay, I can see VTP operation mode is VTP server, and maximum VLAN supported locally is 255. Number of existing VLAN is VLAN 5. Configuration revision. I will discuss about revision number, about VTP pruning, that are very, very important items in a specific part of VTP in second official book of CCNA, and MD5 digest for encryption. We'll configure terminal. So we did see that default mode is VTP server. Okay, I should I should specify VTP domain. VTP, hit tab and question mark, VTP domain, VTP mode, VTP password, VTP version. Well, VTP domain, I said all of switches that are in same domain name will work together as VTP configuration. VTP domain, it just need the name. For example, Cisco.local. Changed the VTP domain to Cisco.local. And it's really need the VTP password for providing security and preventing from adding another unauthorized switch to our network and connected to our VTP domain and exchange information or delete VLANs and many other items. Because for preventing these issues, we need set the password or VTP. So VTP password, for example, I enter simple password. You should not perform like this. In real network, you should perform strong password. Well, 1, 2, 3, and VTP mode is server. It's okay. Okay, and go to this is VTP client. Enable, configure terminal, VTP mode client, VTP password 1, 2, 3. In VTP in switch SW3 it is the VTP transparent and responsible. Just transfer the VLAN database from its own switch to the downside switch. Enable, configure terminal, conft, VTP mode transparent, VTP password 1, 2, 3, and the last switch is SW4, I think. Configure terminal, VTP mode client, VTP password 1, 2, 3, VTP domain. I forgot VTP domain. VTP domain Cisco.local. In another switch I forgot. Configure terminal, VTP domain Cisco.local, and this one VTP domain Cisco.local as well. Okay, that's all. Let me check the VTP configuration. Before that, need to configure trunk ports. From this switch SW1, from interface facility 01 to 01 is trunk, so need to configure trunk ports. If you remember the trunk ports for exchanging any information about VLANs by to switch. Interface facility 0/1, switchboard mode trunk, and this SW2 interface facility 0/1, switchboard mode trunk. This is facility 02 to 02, interface facility 0/2, switchboard mode trunk, and on SW3 0/2, switchboard mode trunk as well, and on the facility 0/3 Well, exit interface fast Ethernet 0/3 switch or mode trunk, and the last one interface fast Ethernet 0/3 switch for mode trunk, and going to test on VTP server. I'm going to global configure mode and create one VLAN. For example, VLAN 100, name, first name, finance department. Okay. First of all, for troubleshooting or for checking your correct configuration in switches or in routers or on any Cisco implementation in CCNA course, you should check one by one after your configuration completed. First of all, show VLAN brief. I need to check the VLAN is created or not. VLAN 100 on VTP server is created. Okay, let me configure host name SW1 VTP server. Okay, we can see VLAN 100 here. Show VTP status. Show us the VTP mode is server, and another item is show VTP counters that show us the VTP sending packets perform correctly or not. Summary advertisement received for and subset advertisement received. It shows us that packets sending or receiving or not. And show interfaces trunk. Interface facility 01 is trunk and 02 is trunking as well. That's okay. I'm going to VTP, I'm going to another switch that is VTP client as my second step for troubleshooting or for checking. And first of all, show interface is trunk, the trunking port is okay. So show VLAN brief. The VTP number is not here. Why? Show VTP status. That is VTP client. Okay. Show VTP counters. And 5 packet received. Okay. Let me check it here. And another as well. Show VTP counters. Show, let me check it, show run, and exactly one by one checking, show run. Well, show interface version 0102 is trunk, that's okay. Interface, what about our VTP configuration? Let me perform it manually. VTP mode server. VTP domain cisco.local and VTP password 123 and write, because this is the simulator software, maybe don't work correctly sometimes. And let me check again on Cisco client VTP, show VTP counters, WR, and show run. Okay, interface facility 0/1 is trunk port, and show VTP status, VTP client, show VLAN brief. It is not here. Configure again. VTP mode client, VTP domain Cisco.local, and VTP password 123, and write show VTP counters again. The numbers is in incremental mode and incremented one item from two digit from 5 to 7. That shows us VTP packet received. Show VLAN. That's okay. Well, it just was a software bug. VLAN number 100 created without I manually enter any VLAN configuration on this switch, and this client switch received it from the VTP server. Let me check another switch. VLAN transparent should not be affect VLAN configuration on this switch because this is transparent. And show VLAN brief. VLAN 100 is not here. Show VTP counters. Configure terminal. Let me configure it again. VTP mode transparent. VTP domain Cisco.local. VTP password 123, and write and show VTP counters again. It is not any items. Okay, going to another switch, another client switch. Show VLAN brief. That is not there again. Need for configuration. Configure terminal. VTP mode client. VTP mode. VTP domain Cisco.local. VTP password 123, and write show VTP counters. It's received, I think. Show VLAN brief again. Yes, that's all. Done. VLAN 100 on this switch, transferred from the above transparent switch and created on this switch because this is VLAN, because this switch VTP client and the above switch is VTP transparent. Well, we ran into a little problem, which is good by the way, and it will be a good experience for you to troubleshoot and fix it. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, which is trunk administrative mode. Just before starting it, I would like to ask you to please subscribe the channel and ask your questions that are valuable to me in the comments so that I can answer them quickly. So what about the administrative mode when you connect one switch to the another device? Imagine you have the switch and connect from one port of that switch and the other side that cable connected to the another device. If another device is end user, for example the computer, the port is must be configured for access that is for end user devices. But what happens if another side of the cable is switched, and what happens when the configuration changes from many modes? This table shows what happens if you configure two sides of the cable. If one side access, if one side dynamic auto, trunk, and desirable, you have 4 modes and these items. You know about access. Access always acts as an access or non-trunk port when the end user device is connected to the other side of cable. Dynamic auto passively waits for received trunk negotiation message from other side, at which point the switch will respond and negotiate whether to use trunking. Well, this is dynamic auto. And trunk always acts as a trunk port for transferring VLANs and VTP configurations and packets from one switch to the another one. And what about dynamic desirable? Initiate negotiation message and response to negotiation message to dynamically choose whether to start using trunk. Okay, when one side is be accessed and another side be accessed, result with will access mode, and that port connected from one side to the another side will be in access. If one side is accessed and another side is dynamic auto, because it passively waits to receive trunk negotiation and don't receive any trunk negotiation, because don't receive any negotiation trunk packets, it will be changed to access. If one side is access and another is trunk, you should not use this one, because it is not applicable. One side configured mode of access and another side is trunk. Problem occur, and avoid this combination item. And if one side access and another side dynamic desirable will result of access. If one side is dynamic auto, another side is access will access. Another side dynamic auto will access, because two sides wait for receiving negotiation trunk and never will send any negotiation, any trunk packets from one side to the another, and vice versa. So administrative mode will change to access mode. If one side dynamic auto and another trunk, it will be trunk. It will pass and exchange trunk packets. So the administrative mode will change to trunk, and dynamic auto and dynamic desirable will be result of trunk. If one side is trunk and another access is don't use, another side is don't use, another side is dynamic auto, result will be trunk, will be trunk, will be trunk. If one side is dynamic desirable and another side is access, the result will be access and another items will be trunk mode. We check this table so that you know what the status of the switch ports will be when you have not set them manually. Well, and the last item of this video is setting voice VLAN port. It is an exciting item. Imagine you have the IP phone. What is the IP phone? What is the VoIP? VoIP is abbreviated of voice over IP. When you have the network, when you have the computer network, you don't need any cabling for implementing the phone connections. You can use networking, you can use ready networking, you can use ready IP-based networking for implementing phone calls as well. And you can use your ready cabling for that. In this situation, you will have or you should use IP phone and use PCs like this. In the IP phone, in the backward of IP phone, you have two ports. One port, if you exactly see this, is LAN, and another port is for PC. One cable from one switch connects to the IP phone LAN port, and from the second port of IP phone, that's known as PC, one cable connects to the computer, and for this reason you will reduce using of switch ports for your connections. If you don't like this, if you don't perform like this, you need, for example, if you have 20 PCs, you will you will need 20 ports for PCs, and in addition you will need 20 another port for connecting IP phones. But with this technique you will reduce use of ports. Okay, one port from one port of switch, one cable to the port of LAN on IP phone backward, and from the other ports of IP phone, which has name of PC, one cable connects to your computer. But the important item is this: what happens in configuration? Because this is voice, this is voice, and this is data. Data packets will need to transfer from this computer, and voice packets will need to transfer to or from this IP phone. They are separated protocols with separated quality, with separated priority packet transferring. So we need a specific configuration. Well, let's see that. Now we are here, okay, and our VTP configuration. We have VLAN 100 created on this switch, for example. Enable show VLAN. Okay. Keep in mind, with VTP configuration, just VLAN creation, deletion, and changing name is automatically performed, not assigning port, because maybe your VTP server has 48 ports and your VTP client switch has 24 ports. And if you, for example, assign port number 31 to a specific VLAN, your client switch will not have port amounts of more than amounts of 24 ports, and that will be occur problem. Okay, so assigning ports will be manually. Remember that. Well, we have VLAN number 100. Okay, imagine we have like this one. Sorry, we have like this one. We need connect one port of switch to one IP phone, and from the IP phone to the switch. Well, we need IP phone here. IP phone is here. Okay. In this configuration, I need VLAN voice, one VLAN voice for example, this switch, and one VLAN data. VLAN 100 is data. For example, I imagine just it's logical concept. VLAN 100, we imagine that is for data, and I connect like this. First, connect one port, for example, VLAN number port facilitator number 0/10 from the switch into switch port of IP phone. Look at here, this is IP phone. I zoom in and you can see you have maybe one port for PC and one port for SW or switch, and another connection from PC port of IP phone to the computer fast Ethernet. IP phone is not turned on, needs to its electrical adapter connected to turn on, and it's okay. Interface fast Ethernet 0/10 on this switch, switch port mode access, and switch port access VLAN 100. I said we imagine 100 is data VLAN, okay? And we need another VLAN for voice. So need configure it on our VTP server. Enable configure terminal VLAN 200, name voice VLAN NWR, and let some time to create or receive VTP packets. Show VLAN brief on the VTP client. VLAN 200 is here. Okay, we have port number 10 and we configured it as VLAN as access port and assigned it to VLAN number 100. Okay, in addition, we can configure like this interface again: fast CCNA 0/10 switch port voice VLAN 200 and show run and see this please. VLAN 10, sorry, interface fast CCNA 0/10. This is the only situation where a switch port can be member of two VLANs. Just interface fast CCNA 0/10 assigned to VLAN 100 is VLAN data, simultaneously assigned to VLAN number 200, which is VLAN voice data. With this configuration, VLAN data will pass through the IP phone and arrived at PC, and voice packets will receive by IP phone and will terminate on that.